Good afternoon. I think we can get started. My job is supposed to introduce George, but I don't think he needs any introduction. Everyone here knows about George. George is a teacher of all of us, especially for me. I've been knowing George for many years. I've learned a lot from him, continue to learn a lot from him. And one thing I'd like to mention is this workshop actually started by George many years ago. Okay. And he still attend here from probably most of the time. It may not be every year, but most of the time. So without any further ado, let us welcome George to give us about finding the noodle in the big sea. Maybe what we need to find a solution for all the economic problems we have. Okay.
好，谢谢。等一下，站起来不要摔跤。好，行。好，这个我来摆这里哈。谢谢啊。哇，这个舒服的不得了。好，大家午安啊！大家午安哈。这个今天上午那个听得见吗？听得见。我这喉咙比较大。今天上午蔡老师讲现代的统计，我这个还是非常绝对性的统计。OK， 所以又回到这个老统计绝对性的东西讲的东西，不过是一个。我自己认为是，我这个问题都看得见哈。我有好几个合作的人，第一个是那个Daniel Peña，台湾也来过几次，他是恐怕是西班牙最好的一个、最有名的一个统计学家，也是欧洲最出名的统计学家之一。他是我非常非常好的朋友，认识了几十年了。那么他在这个 Carlos Third University， 西班牙啊，是那边最好的这个 Research University， 做 President 做了几年，做了7年，现在刚刚又下来。这个事情呢，是他跟我好多年以前啊，常到这边来的时候，我谈了以后做的事情，搞了好一阵了。那么这个是Daniel Peña，还有一个呢，他的一个学生。叫这个 Holio， 他也是西班牙人啊，在这里。那么前几年还有一个大陆的一个学生拿了 PhD 以后，在我家里面那边去待了几年，叫黄大，他所以算是他们3个人呢是跟我合作这个东西。好，这个题目呢叫做我把它叫做大海捞针了。讲中文的话，实际上就是在这个洋人啊，他不叫大海捞针，洋人是在草堆里面放针，也是一样的味道，就是反正在一堆里面啊，找出一个很硬的小的一个东西，就是这个呢，跟我们统计里面啊做了个 outlier detection 很有关系。所以我们的基本的 motivation 呢，是从这个 outlier discussion 哈，我看一下，现在这个是第一页哈。好，可以。这个看得见吗？都看得见是吧？那我就坐下来讲了，好不好？好，谢谢啊。那就。好的，真正的 motivation 呢，跟这个因为做统计的人，如果假如你做应用统计，真正做问题的话，一个最大的一个问题常常是跟 outlier 有关系。因为 outlier 什么叫 outlier 呢？这是我们基本的 motivation。outlier 一多，其实蛮复杂的。你如果做应用统计，你是脱离不了这个 outlier 的问题，这个是我们今天，尤其是 outlier 好几个 outlier 在一起了， 就非常麻烦。那今天想跟大家讨论呢，就是 outlier 究竟我们怎么去处理这个玩意儿？因为你不搞它的话，常常你做的东西跟你做的东西做出来的结果是可能受到很大的影响，结果你得到一个不实在的一个结果。所以你就是怎么样子去能够把那个 outlier 把它找出来，尤其有比较的有一堆 outlier 在里，不对啊。Oh, I'm sorry. All right, thank you so much. Probably right. I should talk in English. The writing is in English anyway. And so 它的这个 basic motivations 放这个 outlier， 因为有 outlier 有一些 ，if you have quite a few outlier 在一起啊，then you'll find it's very difficult to handle. Then we're going to talk about why is that and so forth, and then figure out a way to try to split the thing. The outlier, especially when you're a group, 把它 split 从这个放的 data to split it and split and recombine the data to find out a more homogeneous cluster. Then you can put it out, and of course, and one of the practical purposes to really detect the small tight cluster. That's how we got the name 大海捞针哈，这是或者因为外国人叫是在草堆里面找针啊 ，and then we'll find, and that's what I'm going to talk about. All right. Now go to the next page. Here we'll talk about, this is a bit of an outline of what I'm going to talk about. And so I started out with something you're all very familiar with. How do you treat the outliers? And the thing, of course, is the key thing is why we use the residuals. The residuals in Chinese name 我们叫残差了 and then also another residual called the predictive residuals. I think Professor Tsai also mentioned a little bit about that this morning. I heard him talking about it, and so the first thing is to introduce an idea I'm sure most of you know about, is called the cross-validation, getting to the predictive residuals. And then we introduce them. The idea is all very simple, but this is one of the key ideas. Is we introduce a term called the discriminator function, and then I will gradually explain that. And then using this is the only new idea. This is very simple, but it's a very natural one, is to have this descriptive, called a discriminative nature, or we call it the discriminator function. And then I have done quite a few examples to show you the variety of the problem this can solve, and I hope this technique, when you work with real data, I think you cannot avoid this type of problem, and that's why I'm talking about today. Okay, and it's some final concluding remarks. Okay. You can all see and you can all hear me, right? Yeah, okay. Thank you. All right. So what's an outlier? To show you a little picture. So suppose you have some data, and the data has a model, and has a mean, and has random fluctuation. And that's what this is describing about. Look at the data is like this. You can see this look like like a little normal distribution, okay? And then these are all fairly consistent together, look somewhat like a normal and so on. But then there's a point here. And that's what we call an outlier, right? So everybody's familiar with this, right? So we don't have to worry about it. Now, so of course, how do we usually handle outlier? You use what we call the residuals, right? So you come up with so to check the outliers, you commonly use the standardized residuals. What's the standardized residuals? That's this, the TI. What's this? Is yi minus y bar. Y bar is the mean of the data, and S is the standard deviation of the data, and so on. And this thing here is what we call the studentized residuals, okay? And well, when you think about this and use this to test if it's an outlier, then immediately you can see there's a problem. Why? Because yi is also in the y bar, right? Y bar is the sample mean, okay? And how about S? S is a sample standard deviation, also involved on the data itself. So you can see if the data is an outlier, this makes it what? This involves the data, this involves the data. So therefore, this is not the perfect, not the most sensitive residuals, okay? And so that's why we say both y bar and S involves yi, and that tends to nullify the discrepancy of the yi and from the remaining observations, okay? That's this. Now, then there's a little better way, is typically in the literature is what is called a case 1 deletion. It's a very simple. And that is in fact made popular in the 50s and 60s. It's a cross-validation. Cross-validation, the best way I can think about it in Chinese is this 相互印证. So you use all the observations to help detect the outliers. And so you set up a criterion, not like a TI, just a ordinary residuals. This is sort of like a cross-validation residuals. So then this quantity is called, this thing here is called the predictive residuals. And based on remaining, because it involves every data point, okay? And that's the residual U. And this T square here, from here, and it's a little different from the ordinary T, the ordinary the residuals. And because this is less sensitive than this, because this is this in here divided by this in here. And that's an effect, more effect. This is residuals, square is a bit more effective than just the ordinary residuals. So I can call it the cross-validating residuals. I hope you have all seen the term before, this cross-validating thing, right? If you have any questions, just raise your hand. I'll try to explain some more details. But it's not the most common residuals, but it's what I call the cross-validating residuals, and so forth. And then we'll here just show this residual, the T square with an I and all the others is what I'm talking about. Now, then there's similar to this, there's another term. It's important is a situation like this. Here's my normal distribution, but now here I have 2 points there. Okay? Now, this is really the beginning of the problem. Why is that? If you have 2 points here, if you want to see one of them, which one is the best, it's very difficult, right? Because if you see how this differs from the rest, and it's immediately what? Involved in here. And then that, so both points that involve in the sample mean and sample standard deviation. So that's the beginning of the real problem when you have more than one outlier. This is just 2. If you have several, that makes the outlier problem very difficult to handle it. That's why in fact is the basis of my talk here. So one of the 2 extreme values on the far right will mask 把这盖掉了 will mask the predictive effect of the n-1 observation. And this will get much worse if you have a whole bunch of them. And that really is what I'm going to talk about today, okay? Now, before I proceed, there is also, many of you knows about this robust approach. The robust approach is what? Is because you still want to test each observation, and then what is the mean you use? What is the sample mean you use? Your sample mean and sample standard deviation are certainly affected by the bunch of outliers. So what do? You use a so-called a robust trim means or something like that, or trim standard deviation. Are you still with me on that? All right. Okay. So that's the trimmings, and now but anyway, the thing becomes a little bit difficult. More difficult, because all the robust approach has its advantage, but also has its disadvantage. It's difficult to comprehend, to think about this, and so on. And so that's why we're trying to do something about it. So basically what I'm talking about is this, is that when you omit just 1 or 2 observations, it's not that bad. But then when you're talking about trim means, trim standard deviation, and you don't know how many to omit, and then that becomes the problem that we want to do it. So the easiest thing is, if you omit, if you have a test for outliers, 1 is no problem. 2, you have to omit one more, and 3, you have to omit 2 more, and then that becomes, when you begin to think about it, you immediately get very, very confused. Okay, and but on the other hand, this type of ideas is easily. I gave you the simplest example of estimating a mean or something like that, but you can easily extend this to regression or multivariate analysis and so forth. Everything I said here in the simplest case, you can immediately think in terms of complicated situations. Now here, some simplification, and I'm talking about on this page is that, again, you can also sort of standardize and normalize it a bit, and then you end up with a sort of like using a t square by omitting 1 or omitting 2 or omitting 3 and so forth, and so that's what this page is all about. And we can also simplify a little bit here by normalizing all this, and in terms of T, and that's just all the largest single observation is the C0 I maximum, the C0, and it becomes a C0, and C1 is maximized not only that observation you want to test if it's an outlier, you can ask another one, that's the second line, and the second line, and then the D is the change between testing for 1 or testing for 2. All right, here it shows you a little bit of example. This example is a 15 observation example. This example is particularly important to me. Is my thesis with my professor many years ago. He used the same example. This is an example that R.A. Fisher used in his famous book on statistical research for a research worker. That's one of the most famous books in statistics. And this is a Fisher's book on statistics for a research worker. Here's 15 observations. This is the 15 observations are sort of the two kinds of plant. One is cross-fertilized, one is self-fertilized kind of plant, and they want to compare the difference between these two types of fertilization. And here's the 15 point. If you put it on the line, it was like this. You can see these two look like what? Somewhat more on the right, look somewhat like an outlier, okay? And here, there's some kind of grouping here, or no matter, you can think of many ways that the data can group together. That's what I'm going to talk about, okay? And if you're testing a single outlier, it just is, that's right, using regular residuals, and then that's the upper 5% point of a single of the C is 9.69, and D is you have two. You using the D test is you have sort of like the test for two outliers and so forth. So the percentage point for the T is 9.69, and for the D1 is 3.77. So you can see from that the first line. Here's the first line of the data, and here's the single test for one outlier. Then none of this, the upper 5% point, 95% point is 9.69, and then there's nothing against, nothing bigger than that. So you have no. And now if you test for 2, this is a little better because this 2 you can see here the D, the biggest D point is 5, and his 95% point is 3.67. So if you go through for testing for 2 outliers, that shows up. So for 1 outlier, you don't see anything above 95% point, but for 2 outliers, you do show. So that's what this thing is saying here. Now, I'm going to do one thing a little bit. Oh, okay. Suppose I make a magic. This is a 0.1, is this one here, minus 67. This is minus 48. This is a third point, is what? Is 6, right? That's this point here. Suppose I move this point to something here. Okay. Move it to, this one here is about 40 minus 48, and here's sort of minus 46. Okay. If you do that way, okay, that's what we call the modified Fisher, the modified Darwin data, modified Fisher data, and so forth. You see what? This looks like what? There's somehow a cluster of three things. And also, when you look at the C1 and D1, they all what? Get they all get this. That's become no light test now. All right. So move this over here to here, then change the picture quite a bit. So then I'm going now to talk about the main idea in this work is look at this in here and so forth. And no outlier in that sense now. So that's shown more clearly in this picture. Right? Just that's originally the point is here. I move it to here. All right? What do you see? You see, it's kind of interesting thing. Here is a group of points here. Right? Here's another group of points. Now, this two group of points, what do you see the difference of these two group of points with the whole picture? It sounds like what? There might be two groups. One group with much bigger one, variability, and another group sort of much tighter variability, right? You see that? If you look at this, you see this bit, and this bit. I'll pass this point. Well, forget about this. These two it's like two different groups. See, here's all very tight. Here's what? Much more spread out. So that's why when you work with data, very, very often the data is, you can group them together, become a much bigger thing, but this is how it's pretty clear that this two group and will give you a different impression. All right. So now I try to introduce the main new ideas in this work. Okay. It's a thing called the discriminator function. I give a Chinese name of that, called a 鉴别式. It's the discriminator that discriminate the group from one to the other. So the discriminator is this idea. Here is the argument when you maximize this. Is the argument is the y when you maximize this. That's why I call it discriminator function. And from now on, I got to use this discriminator function to get to spread the data away. Vaguely, you see the group, this group, and this group. Or this group, in fact, you can also put that one in there. That's possible. This is also including this. Then it's one which is much bigger variability. And here is a very nice group with much smaller variability. And that's how you can spread the data into two groups. Of course, you might say, well, that's some other way you can look at it. Look at how this is a group, and one outlier. That's okay. But the discriminator will tell you some interesting difference. So, that's the idea of this group. So you can see how now here you sort of officially define the discriminator. The discriminator, what is the definition? This YL is sort of argument of the maximum of this idea. It's sort of, what is this idea? This idea is to pick another, you're testing something, but you pick just the YI. Here, in addition to the Y, you also add a J in there. Get rid of another thing. Okay, that's that discriminator, the idea. And what idea is that once you take another point, make the point you want to test as far away as possible from the data. So that's what I call this the discriminator, or in Chinese the 鉴别式. You make this YL, make YI as far most discrepant from the remaining n-2 points. Because we say you use that one, normalize it, and then also make it sort of you have the ith point you want to test, and then you add another point, and then make that original point that you want to test as far away as possible. So that's the idea of discriminator. So here's another page here to describe again what a discriminator is about. So like I say, this is one line. This is the 纵坐标. This is 横坐标. Okay, and so here you just say the other. When you want to test the 6th observation, you pick up another point. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to the 15. You pick the maximum of this. That's what that discriminator is. Okay, and that's what. All right. So now it's getting very interesting, because you can see if you do that, you'll find that the way that how the discriminator works. You want to test the 6th one. You want to test the 6th one. And the discriminator becomes 1. Second observation discriminator is that 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. And then from 7 to 14, the next 8 is this one, 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 this one. So you use the discriminator to get the thing into you obviously see two groups, right? This is a group, this is another group. Okay, and so that's how we split the data. That so like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That got a group. And the other thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the other group. So now, they're using this discriminator, then naturally divide the data into two groups. You can see the two groups' variability is very different. And that's the nice thing about this. And, or put it another way, it's more or less the same type of thing. And there's one group, this is another group. This is a discriminator at position 1, this one at position 15. But the most important thing is in here. You can see that's a way to spread the data and so on. And there you'll see other interesting stories. So the discriminator Y1 was shared by 5 observations, 2 to 6, and the other one is discriminator is 15, and by the 8 more from 7 to 14. So that's this thing here. You basically spread the data into now 2 groups. Okay. And that's the thing, you can do that. And you can do that. Later on I have an even more interesting example to show you a little later on. So now, here I'm now going to try to describe what we think is a very good recursive spreading and recombining procedures. So you use the data C and D and iteratively to eliminate the potential outlier the first time, and then use the discriminator function to divide the points into subgroups. And the way we thought it would be reasonable is this 0 point here. A is 2 points are placed in the same group if they have the same discriminator. Just you can see it here. All this has the same discriminator because that's the discriminator. That's the point is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay, and 1, and then on 7. This in here, the last one is the 14th. So that's the way we try to use the discriminator to spread the data into more homogeneous. And looking at the data, you can just see it. Yeah, this in here. This group here has this as a discriminator. The other one here has this as a discriminator. This one here and this one here. That's what this in here was saying and so on. It's the same thing again, and you can see from the picture here that doesn't seem to be, seems to make some sense because their variability is different. All right. And another thing is this. There's 3 like a cluster there, all in one group. When you split the group, okay, this all go into one group, and this is the other one. So that's what we call this is a recursive splitting and recombine procedure. Because when you have large number of data, you can spread them, and of course they will be in more groups. First you spread into 2, and then for each one you spread again and spread again using the same idea. So gradually spread the data, no matter how long the whole data set, you can gradually spread into 2 groups, each group, and then you spread into 2, and each group split into 2. When you spread to the end, this is about in the end, you started out as a lot of basic group, and the basic group must have sort of a more dimension, more number than the dimension of the data point. That's essentially the splitting thing here. 2 points are placed in the same group if they have the same discriminator. But then, of course, once you absolutely split, you can spread again, and you can spread again. So therefore, everything becomes sort of in function of 2. All right, so basically you split everything into 2 again, 2 again, and so forth. All right, then when you split in the end, it becomes a lot of small groups. Then the groups that have gaps in there and so forth, then you can recombine them. Okay, once you finish the spread, you can recombine it. What you do is that, because if you have a 4-dimensional thing, and then you got 4 or 5 dimensions, then you can build up. First of 4 or 5, build a normal distribution, and then find out the 99% point, and also put all the points into either in your basic group or outside basic group. Then how much is outside basic group? You can get n minus the basic set number, the number of points outside. Then you from the group in there, you can already build up sort of like a 99% points, and then list all the outside points according to how close they are to the group. Then you one by one absorb them into the thing. Once you absorb it, your group becomes larger. Then you change it, and then you can absorb more. So gradually you can absorb that one thing at a time, and then with big gaps, then you stop, and that's a small group you have. So that basically very simple and very easy. It takes no time to program it. Very, very easy. But almost every time so you submit the program, immediate answer is there. That kind of thing. So the recombining, you start with a group, then you do that. You absorb the outside point into the inside group and so forth, and gradually get into this. And you can show you a little example. The group start with 8, 9, 10, and then gradually you can build it up, absorb this into that, and then absorb all this, and go to the 3 outlier, go to absorb all this, and finally got 3. So that's the end of the thing. You split, recombine, in the clearly identify outlier cluster, and that's it. So it's something that's very, very easy to do. And then you can do it in multivariate problem, in regression and all that. So that's basically what we're going to talk about in here. So now, how much more time? We still have what? 15 minutes? Yeah. I'll show you some examples, okay? And so this is one example. That's the modified data. You start out with the 3. That's your basic set. And then gradually absorbed here. absorb this 4. And then go back, then go back to the all that into one thing, and then here's your 3 outliers. That's in here. Okay, so that's how this is very, very fast, and you can see how it goes, and you can see it on the picture. You can see it on this thing here. All right. So here I show you interesting thing is this. The first is Darwin data, and then the modified Darwin data. That's okay. And now there's an interesting data set. Again, 15 points. How does a 15 points look? It looks like this. That's 15 points. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's from a bigger normal distribution. And all the other things, that's a 5 point. And here's the other 10 point is right here. Okay, so that's in here. It's like, so it's pretty clear. You can see, if you look at this way, it's like there are 2 normal distributions. One has what? A much what? Bigger variance. Another one has what? Much smaller standard deviation. And then if you use this program, following this strip, it's sort of no time. Once you put it in, answer is there immediately. So that's how that thing come about. The data points, and here is the thing, and here's the discriminator. Here's 1, 2, one, 2, 3, 4, and that discriminator, and then the other one is what? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's what this point here. That's that 10 points. So immediately break the group into break the data into 2 groups, and it's 2 normal distribution. And in fact, we can always do the kind of thing in terms of like an onion. You know, onion, 洋葱啊, it's big like this. It has what? It's You can think about that as a normal distribution with what? Smaller and smaller variability. Smaller and smaller variability. And it worked beautifully here. But I don't have the 洋葱 to show you, so I won't see it. It does very, very well. Because of what? Yeah, it's like one normal distribution and another normal distribution and another normal distribution all have the same mean, but will have bigger and bigger and bigger standard deviation. So that's why I call it the 洋葱 problem. It was beautiful. I tried some other spreading procedure in the literature. It's a complete mess. How do you this? It's the same mean, but with smaller and smaller variance. And this procedure makes it sort of just spread beautifully. Okay? So that's that one. Now, here's another example. So identify 5 different clusters. You see here, I have 450 points from a normal distribution, and another 50 points from 5 normal of 10 each at different places. Okay, and that's shown here. The 5 different places is what? Minus 3 here. This one here is -2. This is -2. And this is -1. That's this one here. And then 1 0 is this one here. And this one is 1. This here. And this is sort of like 2. Okay. So these 5 places, 2, 1, 0, -1, -2. Okay. And that's the original points. And then we go through the spread. You know what happened? The 5 there cluster in there come out to be, this is the 2, 1, 0, -1, and -2. Very, very fast. Huh? It takes no time to do it. And so now we try a different place, a different thing. Another different thing is a more massive data set. So this is how we describe it. Well, 5,000 observations generated from N01. And then we have 51, instead of 5 tight clusters, we have 51 tight clusters of 10 observations each. And then it was very small variance at the value. The mean is from -2.5, 2.5 in steps of 0.1. The situation is showing the last 2 figures. Let me show you. Well, this is not too clear. These 2 pictures. This is the results, but here I'm sorry about this because I do not have the thing in color. I'm sorry, because this is original 50 tight clusters. Okay, and each tight cluster, they have 50 points. And the whole thing is about 5,000 points. So again, you can see you can test many, many clusters. And in fact, we've done a job and run this 50 times and with different kind of numbers and so on. And the success rate, getting the right Q1 and so forth, is about 93%. So that makes us very, very happy about it. So this is a program which you can do a very good job finding a lot of clusters. So you really have a lot of 大海可以捞很多针 in some sense. So, all right, so that's basically a very simple program, and I'm sure there are many ways you can. In fact, we run experience on this, and then got something like a 93% success. So, that's all I can show you, and then some final remarks I can talk about. This is some final concluding report, and so the proposed recursive split and recombine approach is conceptually very simple. It really is just almost no formula. Okay, it's just that one page about the definition of the discriminators, and then a little program is placed. It didn't take any time to complete the program, and the method is based entirely on cross-validating predicted distribution of individual observation and pair. In fact, because it's just really two sort of observation and pairs of observations, and key idea is the discriminator function that obtained from the bivariate predictive distribution, which can split into more homogeneous group, and this group can then be enlarged to identify clusters. So it's a kind of predictive approach, and the most focus is to spread the data into different variability. That's the main. I think if there's any contribution, that was the contribution. And there are some problems that we can, and then the thing is you can apply to any observation. You can apply to any model, any normal model, whatever model is very simple. As long as you can have a model, you can generate the data from that model. That's it. That's all you can have to do. Then you can play. Yeah. So then so here's something we need to kind of start thinking about. One is the size of the basic set. The basic set I use is sort of from 4 to about 7 dimension, okay? And so how do you treat the treatment of discriminators? I'm sure we can normalize it. I think we can generalize this into different models, normal-like or something like that. And we do have to do more about the test procedure, its real property and so forth. And then I'm sure we can also do this, apply this to more than 2-dimensional or the high-dimensional data. I think it's basically this. The basic idea is really very simple. It's just a 2-dimensional, 2-observation type of thing, and the area of applications I can think about is just quite a bit of this, and so I can encourage you to write a program. Believe me, if I can write it, you can write it in no time. Okay, if I can write it myself, you can write it in no time. So it's a very simple thing. When you do a lot of application data, run into a problem like this, this is something that I can only say encourage you to try. And thank you very much. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Now I do have the question.
Yeah.
In some sense, if you scale us in try to divide into several groups, your example shows us a very successful. We define this discriminator function to do that. But if you have a high dimension, like 3 or 4 dimensions, then your definition would involve covariance type of stuff. So it's not clear to me. It's not clear to me how effective that is, because especially when you have outline observation, that type of stuff. So can you intuit? You have a lot of experience. What's the key? Because the covariance matrix is much harder to imagine. In the scalar case, covariance matrix variance is a very nice idea to do that. But in the covariance matrix, is less clear to me. So can you say some light on that?
Well, I don't know. But one thing is very simple is this. It's sort of, in a way, it's a 2-step thing. It's just one step, you just get one. 2 steps, you got 2. So basically, it's just 2-step thing.
Yeah.
So, and then, in fact, it's also, it can work for any kind of model that you can think of. Because it's just one-step prediction, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then you make the key thing I think interesting is this, I'd like to, some people, because it's so simple to do, I would like to try it and then tell me what kind of problem you really fail. That's the thing. Because I can find hundreds of the discriminators and so forth.
questions? Okay, Mark, thank you for the.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just something for you to try. That's all. If you have any success, let me know. Do let me know. Thank you.